Hello. This is Els coming from Bemis Crafty Corner. And today we are going to be working on the October project of the month. And the October project of the month are faux calling cards. So, back in the day, when there wasn't a phone, you might want to go by to somebody's house, and to let them know that you were there, you would put your calling card, and you either leave it if they weren't there, or you would send it off with the help to go let the lady or the gentleman of the house know that you were there. And so these were kind of an important little thing to have in your pocket. And the way that these were produced is that you would go to the printer and they would have a catalog where they had all of the cards in there, and you would pick the card that you liked, let's say this one with the little bird on it, and then you'd tell them your name, and they would print your name on a separate piece of paper, and then your name would be applied to those cards, and they would give you back your cards. And you didn't get very many of them. You might get 20 or 30 at a time, so it was not a big production, but you did you did want to make sure that you had a few in your pocket when you left the house or in your handbag. So I've seen a few videos on these, because when I got the idea, I was like, let me see who's done it. And I went and I looked, and nobody has done it in this way. The ones that I've seen are all like they take business cards and just kind of glue stuff over it. Not exactly what I was looking for. I wanted something that looked more authentic, and so this is what I came up with. And I'm going to go ahead and get together all the supplies, and I'll let you know what we're going to need, and then we'll work through getting these put together, okay? Okay, so the very first one we're going to do is probably the simplest one. You're just going to cut out one of your name strips, or whatever word you want. You don't have to put your name on this. I don't care. And then you're going to use a cutter or a pair of scissors, if you have a straight hand, to trim this down to the size that you want. Doesn't have to be too big. But you do sort of want it straight. Okay. Let's take a look, make sure we got it nice and even. I like it. Okay. Get rid of the scraps. We'll close this up so I don't chop off my finger. And then I've pulled a few of the images from the sheet, and we'll talk a little bit about these. If you've never done these before, you're going to need a popsicle stick or a bone folder to do this. And before you put them down, you're going to want to kind of size everything out. Because you want to make sure it all fits. Okay, then you're going to peel this away. There's plastic at the top and a piece of paper at the back. We're going to place this where we want it. Now, before you put it down, make sure that you have it where you want it, because this stuff can be a little bit sticky, okay? Once you have it on there and it's nice and straight, just use your bone folder to press that pretty hard down on. And then you're going to lift up one corner, and you're just going to slowly begin picking it up. And what you're looking for is for the image to remain on the paper and not be on the plastic. And the first couple of times you do this, this can be a little daunting. Okay? So just go slow until you kind of get the feel for it. If you pick it up and there's anything still on the plastic, just set it back down and go over that area, and it'll come right off, okay? Like I said, this does take a little bit of work, but once you get it, you're good at it. Then just go over it with your bone folder just to get it pressed on and make sure that you've got it on there. And as you can see, it's not like a sticker. It doesn't stand out, and that's really what we're looking for. We almost want it to look like it's printed on the card. And then we'll do the other one as well. You can use one image, two images, however you want to do this. And And I'm just pressing this on using the edge of my bone folder here. You can use the point, whatever you want to do. You just want to go over that image and get it pressed on. Once you have it there, go ahead and start to gently lift. Don't pick it up and then put it back down. If you have any lift from the image at all, just immediately set it back down, okay? Alright, so now I have two images on there and I have my name. And this would have been what was called a straight application. I'm going to take just a little bit of ink here because I do want this to stand up just a little bit. So I'm going to put a very fine amount of ink on the edge. And that's it. I'm just going to figure out where I'm going to place this. I think I'm going to put it right here, just like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back. And since this is the linen paper and it is Amy's cold heat cold process, I don't worry too much about any rippling or anything like that in it. Eek! Okay. We're going to set this right where we want it to be. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of ink, go around the edges up here. And that's it. That's probably the simplest one that you can do. Just so much easier. Okay. All right. So I have my paper here. This is the paper that I use to collect my embossing powder. And I have my stamp, which I'm going to get on here nice and straight. Okay. And some Versamark. Ew. I'm going to open up my embossing powder. I'm going to get my name up here. Get my stamp inked up. And I'm going to put it around my name. And press it and hold for a moment. Give me a second to close up the ink. We just put that over there in the box. And then I'm going to take that off and add my embossing powder. Okay. Get this cleaned up. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and emboss this. Get my embossing gun out here. And fussy cut this out. totally acceptable. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I'm going to put my images. And I'm thinking I'm just going to put my flowers along the edge here. And my butterfly maybe at the top. And my nameplate right in the middle. So let's start with this one. I'm going to go ahead and remove the image. Position it before I put it down. There we go. Rub it on. My plastic. Kind of reposition my name so I know where that's going to go. This has got to go in the corner here. Now, when you're working on the butterfly, always be careful of the antenna. For some reason, that's the part that always doesn't match. All right. Trim this little piece off here a little bit. All right. Now, just lightly. All right, press that down. Give it a second to dry. Finish it off with a little bit of ink on the edge. And it's okay if it looks a little grungy because these things were actually used and reused because printing was expensive back then. You know? So that's in the next one. And we're going to do one more. Today I've selected an image. I have a scrap piece of cardstock. I have my card here. I have my name, and I have a couple of nesting dies. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the name. So I'm going to make sure that I have it centered in my piece here, in my die. And I'm going to run it through my machine. There we go. We'll get rid of that. And then I'm going to take my piece of cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and run the next size up through my die machine. Okay. Now, all right, so for this one, we have our image, which is a letter, and then we have some space. So we're going to get this on first. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. And that's my stamp. And I'm going to go ahead and press that on. There we go. And then I have my plate that is going to fit right here. So I'm going to just put a little glue on this. I'm not really going to bother to do too much here to this. Maybe a little bit of ink, but not much. I want it to look dirty, but not, we aren't poor, you know. All right. I don't want my daddy to look bad. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this. And we'll put that down. And again, we're going to go ahead and ink around the name. There we go. All right, I'm going to clean this mess up real quick, and I will be back, and we'll take a look at all of our calling cards. So let's take a look at what we have. These are the two original ones that I started this video with, and the first one is extremely basic. It is simply a rub-on with a copy of my name just cut out of a sheet here, and then a little bit of ink and glued on, a little bit of ink around the outside. That is the most basic card you can have. Then we took it a little step further, and we did this one. Again, we have a rub-on, and we have the nameplate, but we used the nesting dies, we used the next size up, and embossed that piece just to add a little pop of color to it. So that is the second one. Now, let's talk about the ones that we did together. So the first one we did was this one here, where we had two rub-ons, and we offset the name here, and we had this empty space. I didn't like the void, so I went and dug around a little bit. I came up with this Remnant Rubs from Ideology Gilded Accents. It comes in gold and silver, and I just took one of the pieces off of here, just one of these pieces here off the gold sheet, and I just laid it in and rubbed it on so that we could add that little flair to it, and I think it worked out well. The next one we did was this one. Now, this one, again, double rub-ons here, but we used our embossing tools to go ahead and emboss a little book plate stamp here that we just embossed around the pre-printed name, and then just hit it with the embossing gun, a little bit of fussy cutting here, and then some ink just to make it stand out, and I think it turned out quite nice. And then the last one, this one we used our nesting dies again, but we did not emboss the background, and we just added one of our rub-ons. There it is. Those are the 5 cards that I have for you. So, what comes in this month's kit? In this month's kit, you're going to get 10 of the card blanks. Now, these are not business-size cards. They are different, and as always, all of the dimensions for this project will be in the instructions below, as well as a link to my Google Drive that will tell you, what dimensions these are and how to cut them. They do come pre-cut, pre-rounded, and ready to go. And then you will have your choice of either the floral or the industrial set of rub-ons from Crafter Square. So you can choose whichever one of those two you want. And I will be sending a sheet with every order of your name in multiple fonts on the 25% linen tea-dyed paper so that you get that look that was very common of the time, okay? So that's the kit. Now, this month's kit is $3. It's $1.50 for shipping, and I will waive the shipping for the second set. So, that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. Listen, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, like me, ring my bell, and share me with all your friends till I see you again. Bye-bye.